Hello, hello. It's your astrologer friend Kimberly here with you on the total lunar eclipse in Pisces. I'm really glad to be recording this, and yeah, just apologies yet again. It comes so late in the day. A couple of notes about eclipses. Your children could be going nuts. Your animals and pets could be heightened. Eclipses are the action points of the calendar year. We have between 4 and 6 eclipses every year, and they tend to be the heightened, charged moments where lots is going on, a lot is going on, and people could be extra restless, people could be extra sensitive, people could be going through a lot. For me, the energy feels very culminative right now, which is very typical for a full moon. But also, given it's Virgo season, I'm feeling like it's very much practical energy. We'll go into that more. We don't need my opinion right now on what's going on in my life. Let's share the screen and have a look at the chart for the full moon in Pisces. And let's just take a second to acknowledge, as I say, it's Virgo season. We've got the sun at 15 degrees of Virgo, the moon at 15 degrees of Pisces. Mercury is also in Virgo, accompanying the sun. And in Pisces, we've also got Saturn co-present with the moon. So we've just got those 4 planets, those 4 celestial objects. We'll call the moon, instead of its categorization of a satellite, we'll consider that the moon is a planet right now. So we've got 2 planets in Pisces, 2 planets in Virgo, Mercury and the sun, the moon and Saturn. And then with them, you can also see these 2 little points here. They look like headphones, upside down headphones, or earpods on a string. And those are the ecliptic points of the zodiac wheel, which tells us that this is an eclipse. So it's at 18 degrees. The north node is at 18 degrees. This is an imaginary point of the zodiac wheel, the ecliptic point of the moon's path as it goes around in an egg shape around the elliptical. So that tells us, essentially, as I said, it tells us that this is an eclipse. It tells us that we are having a heightened action moment and that revelations are coming because it's a full moon. New moons are all about seeding, they're about new beginnings, things germinating, things happening, whereas full moons are times of elevation, revelation, full light being shone across the matter. And then, of course, we have the quarter moons at either point too, but I'm not going to go into half and quarter moons right now. But what we need to know is that full moons are times of full light, and therefore full light on the matter that's been seeded, and therefore a time when we can sit back and acknowledge and therefore be grateful of what we're able to acknowledge that's being revealed and maybe even taught to us for our highest good, for our benefit. So another great thing about this, I mean, I'll go into the elements and the significations of Virgo and Pisces in just a second, but let's take just that moment to look at Jupiter down here in Cancer, water sign Cancer. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, knowledge, growth, expansion. Jupiter is our big giant who delivers gifts of knowledge, gifts of wisdom. He's the Santa Claus of the cosmos. And here he is at this full moon, trine the North Node and trine the Sun and the Moon as well. He's there at 19 degrees of Cancer. The North Node is at 18 degrees of Pisces. The 2 water signs, the 2 nourishing, empathic, generous, forthcoming, full of care, compassion, empathy, and wonder. We've got there in Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, which is a sign of its exaltation, and the moon in Pisces. And there we also have Saturn at 29 degrees. 0, 1, and 29 degrees are power degrees of the zodiac as the entry points and the exit points of the sign. So they are like opening the doorway, the change of energy, the initiating quality of those initial degrees and those penultimate degrees. And we've got Saturn at 29 degrees. And not only is it 29 degrees of a sign, it's 29 degrees of the last sign. So it's a real hot spot. And I'm going to tell you about some celebrities with planets at 29 degrees Pisces in a second. Let's just acknowledge then this axis of Virgo and Pisces. At full moon, two opposite signs are always in question or in our midst. So Virgo season is right now, September, end of August, September. We're going back to school. We've got our pencils sharpened. We're doing the September issue of magazines. We've got our needles threaded to come up with some amazing couture designs. We have got the harvest going at great speed. And Virgo is the energy that counts the grain, maybe not counts the grain, how laborious would that be? But Virgo energy is the one that stock takes account of things. She's the secretary, she's the accountant, she is the maiden of harvest that keeps the wheat from the chaff, and the school children marching 2 by 2, knowing their fire drills maybe, and just keeps all the good energy going that's in a prescriptive state. It's earth. It's an apple a day for the teacher and for the doctor. It is orchards and canning and preserving. It's knowing about germs. It's knowing about gut health and, you know, the dangers of ruining one's gut health with the wrong medications and ravishing the inside of one's body with, you know, something that can destroy the flora, basically. So Virgo energy is earnest, it's intuitive, it's medicinal, and it is healthy, health-oriented, lifestyle-based. It's also a sign of service with that, you know, industrious nature of the wheels turning on the combine harvester. So it's very routine, very regular. You know, great gut health leads to regular digestion and so on. Conversely, Pisces is the sign of not winter, but it's the last sign in the zodiac that comes at the end of February and the first couple of weeks of March, which is a time when winter is melting away. This is a mutable water sign. So we've got mutable earth, which is the combine harvester and the industrious nature of churning wheels. And then we've got the churning rapids of water, the flowing stream with the two fish, which is representative of Pisces, the waterfalls, the babbling brooks, so on and so forth. Anytime you feel water moving, that's Pisces. And the funny thing is about that, imagine standing in a babbling brook and then feeling like seaweed or like something slimy on your legs. You don't know if it's like healthy kelp that you could put into a tea or if it's an eel brushing up against your leg. And such is the mystery of Pisces. You know, Pisces is this enigmatic sign of mystery and intrigue and of wonder. The two signs of Pisces are to do with Christianity. The last 2,000 years have been the age of Pisces, this time where religions have dominated, 2,000 years of Christ and all that kind of stuff. And basically, Pisces is this wonderment and confusion and mirages. We've had so much going on since Neptune was in Pisces from 2012. So very much like viral images, slippery legal stuff going on. I mean, rules changing, things being very, very slippery and elusive, and, just people not getting caught for things that people should be getting caught for, let's say that. So with Saturn re-entering this sign of effervescence and infinity loops and the, ongoing healing process that is Pisces, you imagine a yoga practice that never ends, a meditation that never ends, prayer that never ends, the infinity loop of Pisces that is all permeating water. When we think of that, and then we think of Saturn going back into this sign, where he entered in 2023 March, and now he's back again after a brief stint in Aries, we are being asked to double down our efforts on something that needs a final look, right? Something is calling our attention with this full moon to the Pisces area of our horoscope, and Saturn wants us to have a final stamp of approval. It's like we've been on a degree or like done a course, and we need to just go back to our final papers and have another read through. We need that final revision, right? The ruler of this full moon is Neptune in Aries at 1 degree. So we're very, very much in fresh energy. And not only do we have Neptune there at 1, we have a sextile to Pluto and a sextile to Uranus. So this energy is incorporating so many arms and legs, so many innovations, so many giant themes that all mean something. And let's go through sign by sign what they mean. But just remembering that we've got that Jupiter there trying the North Node. Mars has completed a square to Jupiter. So that's kind of a little blip and a bump that we've had over the past few days as well. Anyway, let's go through sign by sign and prescribe the horoscope for your zodiac sign, for your rising sign, and see what you think, see what resonates. I'll try and give some examples for you. Excuse me, kicking the desk. Okay, so you can see here for the Aries and Aries risings, the full moon in Pisces is activating your 12th house of dreams, imagination, inner work, withdrawal, sacrifice, solitude, healing, and recovery. And as an Aries, lo and behold, that's exactly what I've been doing today. I've also been having really strong dreams for the past week. I sometimes will have strong dreams, but I've definitely been, just having some pretty exciting ones, I would say. Nothing memorable, but I definitely remember waking up and thinking, oh, wow, that's interesting. And not just dreams, but actually dreams that kind of helped me to process some emotions and some feelings, which felt very Jupiter and Cancer. Like I was really able to experience and I'm not saying heal the feelings, but it definitely felt pretty deep. One of the ones that I had, because I was like, wow, that's really Pisces eclipsey of that one. Yeah, as I say, I can't remember what it was now, but it definitely made sense. And then, yeah, just doing some recovery work today and really realizing that there are some things that I need to be quite decided and discerning and, intentional about with that Saturn at the 29th degree there. Shall I just interrupt with these comments on these celebrities quickly? Yeah, I will. So I was also watching a TV show last night in bed about this catfish mother, and someone on Instagram had actually found via the court records this woman's birth data. We didn't have a time of birth, but I noticed they found the birth data. And I was looking up when she got arrested, as I always do when I'm in bed and I'm watching a crime documentary. I'm always looking at the transits for the person in question. We couldn't see the daughter. So this woman was basically sending her daughter really vile messages. Completely deluded, this mother was, like completely out of whack. And basically, you might have seen this TV show. It's called I don't know what it's called. It's called it's on Netflix. I can't remember. I'll put the name in the comments. But basically, she got charged when Jupiter was at 29 degrees of Pisces. And I thought, wow, how interesting that this TV show is causing quite a stir. With Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces, she's really getting a public grilling. And there was loads of other really interesting things during her transits as well. But I don't think anyone's that interested for me to do a whole video on it. But if so, holla, and I will. Harvey Weinstein, Sun at 29 degrees, 27 minutes Pisces. So what's going on with Harvey Weinstein at the moment? And is something, about him coming up? He's also got the North Node at 0 degrees Pisces. So he has not left our newspaper headlines yet. Jeffrey Epstein has Mars at 15 degrees 43 minutes Pisces. So literally the full moon is at 15 degrees. Jeffrey Epstein has his Mars at 15 degrees 43 and his Venus at 16 degrees. So Jeffrey Epstein being massively in the news at the moment as well. And Puff Daddy has his North Node at 19 degrees. So Puff Daddy is also having his nodal return right now with the trine to from Jupiter as well. He has Black Moon Lilith at 21 degrees Cancer. You know, and the thing is that I'm not super obsessed with always just looking at criminal activity, but it is a bit of an interest of mine to look at all kinds of celebrities. But yeah, definitely those ones. And you know, it's always interesting to see the people who are most prolific. But the reason why Harvey Weinstein is particularly interesting is because that 29 degrees of Pisces is you know, it's the last degree of the zodiac, and it's where everything just comes falling down and unraveling. There's also Cynthia Erivo. I don't know how to pronounce her birth chart, but she also has her planet at 29 degrees. Let me just Google it quickly. And if you ever want to see a celebrity's birth chart, just Google the celebrity name, spacebar, birth chart. She has at 29 degrees Pisces Mars at 29:59 as well. So maybe she's also hitting the headlines right now. Or there might be some project that she's doing, which is gaining some kind of interest and traction. She also has the sun at 17 degrees of Capricorn. So she's having Jupiter opposite her sun as well. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much into commenting on those celebrities, but needless to say, there might be something coming up about them, especially in the newspapers. So let's go through sign by sign. Aries, the full moon, the total lunar eclipse, it's a celebration of all of the work that you've been doing that other people don't necessarily see. The 12th house is very much an unconscious house. It's a house of closure and of unraveling behind the scenes. So something deep within your own inner world could be revered right now, could be celebrated and could be honored. As I said, I've been going through that too. I'm not necessarily in a cheerful celebratory mood, but it's interesting that, you know, it did correspond with something that I was doing today, a meeting that I had with someone today. Taurus and Taurus risings, the full moon is coming to fruition in your house of groups, communities, friendships, networks, and collective interests, hopes, dreams, and wishes for humanity, your peers. And I am very close to a Taurus rising who has been at an astrology conference and is definitely probably feeling the vibes of that collective interest and humanitarian, you know, vibe of coming together with a network of people like-minded. And Jupiter in the third house is connecting very much to kindred spirits. So back and forth. And this person has also just done a lovely project with somebody, a sisterly type character, which is to do with communications. The third house thought to do with communications and self-expression, interviews back and forth. So for the Taurus rising, this could be a really nice time for siblings, for friends, for networks, for plugging into society or just the community, the collective, and for making your way around town, navigating and absorbing you know, the greater good, and also celebrating friends, like celebrating the fact that you've come a long way, you know, understanding, appreciating, and empathizing with other people. So that's really, really nice. Love that for the Taurus risings. For the Gemini risings, This is a time to be aware of your public image, your career, your direction, your sense of authority. This is Saturn in the 10th house as well. So it's very much about revisiting your public profile and how responsible you are as a parent, as a figure of professionalism, and just a representative of maturity. And Gemini rising, you're being looked at as somebody who can take the reins and be in charge, but perhaps with a final piece on how you need to do due diligence or do well at staying in that lane of hard work and using courage to stay on track. So if you've got any friends or people who are Gemini risings, also your finances, your resources, the role that you're in, this is very much coming up too, because Jupiter is boosting your financial position or your position in which you contribute. Okay. Then we've got the Cancer risings, myself included, looking at your specialism, looking at your expertise, celebrating your 9th house of long distance travel, growth, wisdom, the journey that you go on, the quest that you go on to learn more. So celebrating how you have stepped out in the world to publish or to purport a message, to preach a message, to deliver something. And of course, this is my rising sign. This is very much about me having traveled abroad during Neptune's long tour of Pisces, and even in the last few years, it becoming more perhaps serious with Saturn in the 9th house, about how I maybe about even how I publish my stuff online, and about what I'm putting out there and the journey that I'm on. 9th house, wisdom, travels, quests, and also for the Cancers, maybe the understanding that you have of other people and the wisdom that you've gained through even things like mental health exercises or discovering more through therapy. Saturn is your relationship planet and literally describes in this chart how you're inviting in experiences to teach you more about your other half, your spouse. And Jupiter obviously sending you on this major journey of exciting proportions, launching in your 1st house of self. Leos and Leo risings. Your full moon is bringing fruition vibes to your 8th house. And the 8th house is to do with bonds, investments, commitments, and other people's role in your life. So this is a time to celebrate the role that other people play for you, how you work with others, and how you value other people's, I wouldn't say opinions, but like how you come together with people and how they have a stake in what you do and how you appreciate and their contribution, basically. This is so loaded for Leo risings. You've also got the Jupiter transiting your 12th house of secrets, gestation, introspection, catharsis, unraveling. So you're in this period of limbo and observation and just really going through the motions. But at the same time, with these planets in the 8th house, you're very much aware of other people. So this could be your spouse, it could be a family member, it could be somebody at work, somebody that you work with. You could be really aware of how you depend on another person to boost you up so that you feel appreciated or successful. Or you could literally depend on a partner to have a hand in your career and the way that you're seen. And you could also be affected by the way that other people perceive you as well, like how other people are how other people are feeding back to you, counting on others, reciprocity, and being enmeshed in a process of trust. This is the house of loyalty and of commitment and of negotiation. So there's this kind of feeling like there's still a little bit more work for you to do on understanding how people affect you, or how you appreciate the effect that the stake that other people have in your work. And there's somebody else I know with a planet at 29 degrees of Pisces, Venus at 29 degrees of Pisces, and that person is very much intertwined and enmeshed with other people in their job, so that they're in this process of reciprocity, giving the other person a platform, but also, it being part of their career too. And this is very much a deep psychological platform of work that they're doing. So they're just being this, there's all that project is also ending. So Saturn there being the kind of stamp of approval on the work that's already been done. So Leo could be definitely having that, where they've done the work, but it's just this sense that like more is still being revealed for the Leo. Virgo rising, this lovely lunar eclipse, full moon in Pisces, is happening in your house of relationships, other people, one-to-ones. This could be a coach, a therapist, a spouse, or any kind of person. It can be a family member that's being illuminated by the full moon, so that you're fully aware of a partner. You're fully aware of how far you've come on the journey of togetherness. And Saturn is the ruler of your house of children, fertility, and creative experiences, sexuality, passion. So maybe you've understood your sexual needs, and now you're putting the final finishing touches on a relationship. Or maybe you've had a baby, and fertility is part of that sexual experience, fertility, baby making, and now you're experiencing partnership, and that's a really key component. You've also got Jupiter in this 11th house of social experiences. So I am thinking for the Virgo rising, this is also very much about the community circles that you're a part of, and even by extension, the status quo that you buy into. And not to mention, you've got Uranus at the top of your chart there as well, creating disruption around the way that you're perceived. So this is kind of like very strong focus on relationships, but also outward experiences, the way that your reputation allows you to come across either as a parent or as someone, a public figure, through your vocational life, through your career and your career choices, and how you fit into the greater good company, or collective groups and networks in society. That's Virgo rising. And then for the Libra risings, this is your house of health, work, well-being. Only you know what it means to be well for you, Libra rising. You've had this decade plus of experiences, including during COVID, where you've been not experimenting. I know you haven't been experimenting, but you've been going through the motions to discover an equilibrium that is all yours. Your health, your body, your experiences at the doctor's or at the swimming pool or at the yoga studio. This is about you finding your level for you. Only you know what wellness looks like to you. Does it mean staying hydrated with cucumber water and pomegranate seeds? Does it mean, what is your version of wellness? And at the same time, you're having this massive career year. You're having this massive boost on your public image, your reputation, who you are as a professional. So it's a really big year of visibility for the Libra risings, and at the same time needing to affirm to yourself what feels good for you. And I'm going to do conversely, on the other hand, Virgo season is all about time out, respite, percolation, percolating like a very gentle seed, because basically we're in Virgo season, which is lighting up your 12th house. So just being aware that there's a lot going on behind the scenes, but also that you're acknowledging your physical body, what you need to do to take care of you, Libra risings. Scorpio risings. Your full moon total lunar eclipse in Pisces is illuminating your 5th house of joy, love, fertility, sexuality, children, and hobbies, playtime. This is the house of the horoscope that allows you to devote full attention to passion projects, sports, fun things, just all the things that you actually absolutely love, cherish, and adore. So for Scorpio, it could be really much time to reveal and be revelatory about what you love, who you love, how you love, what's important to you in terms of the people that are most cherished, your babies or your sex life that you have designed, you've prescribed. And of course, there's still a little bit more work to do on creating boundaries or the rule book around those areas of life. Saturn is your planet of mindset, thinking, thought process. And now in your 5th house of children and sexuality and hobbies and crafts, you could be really strategizing and thinking and saying like, okay, I've done this wonderful thing. I've given birth to these 2 beautiful kids, or I've had a wedding, or I've, done something really creative. Now what? Let me just make sure I've got my principles addressed in that kind of a way. Sagittarius rising. This full moon is all about your roots, your base, your family, and your sacred space that allows you to feel secure and settled and anchored. Saturn is your planet of personal investment. And so you could be bringing revelatory sentiments to your space where you live, your belongings in your space, what you have, and allowing this influx of information or this influx of activity around your space to allow you to learn more about your loyalties and about who you trust and how you trust, because Jupiter is in your sector of intimacy, commitment, betrayals, and it's the area of the horoscope that allows us to collaborate deeply, to trust, to reciprocate, to feel like we are safe again. So there's a lot. It's lovely for the Sagittarius risings to acknowledge like the journey that they've been on to come home to self, but there's still more work to do. And that's why we can't underestimate, Saturn at this last degree of Pisces, because there's still, I felt it today. I was like, oh my God, look how much work I've still got to do on my own process, my own thinking, even though I'm on this journey, and it's a journey of wisdom and, taking these steps to appear in the world. I've got a lot of work to do around that spiritual axiom that is my 12th house as an Aries. So, and I know other people as well. It's like there's still work to be done. Does Saturn ever let up? I think it's just because he's at this 29th degree. It's so intense. And then Jupiter at 19, giving us the gifts, people to trust for you, Sagittarius, an offering of help, an offering of support and awareness in that regard. For the, so yeah, just really celebrating home, a place to call home, the matter of family, even if it's your chosen family, the idea of having people around you that you can call home, which might be a Pisces person, or honoring people that have passed as well. Big one. Capricorns and Capricorn risings. Saturn is your favorite. Well, it's not your favorite planet. Saturn is your your chart ruler, the ruler of your sun as a Capricorn and the ruler of your chart as a Capricorn rising. God, I made that complicated. Saturn is your planet, Capricorn. And Saturn at this 29th degree could be giving you such food for thought, such nourishment for thought, such rich insights and downloads all about your thought process, how you come to conclusions, where you get your ideas from about relationships or touching on relationships too. So I mean, this is a great one for Capricorn. You know, it's a symbiotic sign for you. Capricorn, Pisces, and Capricorn are harmonious signs together. So really see like what's coming up for you at full moon, Capricorn. How are you feeling about relationships and you know, communicating with people? How are you feeling about engaging your neighbors, going for a walk in your local neighborhood? Like, what have you learned about where you operate in your surrounding area, and how you receive news and news sources? Because remember what I said about this being a very slippery sign. Definitely, I've known a couple of Capricorns to fall prey to conspiracy theories and falsehoods. And this being Pisces in your third house, there's also a lot of spiritual people with Capricorn rising who have had incredibly rich experiences being social media you know, reporters giving information of a spiritual nature and astrological nature of these Capricorn risings. But there's also this quality of fear around Pisces. Like, Pisces is so enigmatic and mysterious that it can be quite fearful. You know, is it a slug or is it a piece of kelp? You know, is it going to bite me and give me a parasitic disease through my toe, or is that just a bit of seaweed on the slippery ocean floor, on the riverbed, on the rocks? You know, am I going to slip over or am I going to catch myself? Who knows? When it's Pisces, could be anything. But let's be positive. For the Aquarius risings, the North Node, the full moon, total lunar eclipse, and Saturn are all in your second house of wealth, purpose, self-confidence, and it's your house of personal finances. And so at this full moon, you could be focused on how well you've done managing your money, or your money mindset, or your approach to money and your approach to making a living. Jupiter is in your sixth house of daily work, rhythms, keeping on top of things, right? The sixth house is where we keep things going in a systematic fashion. So you might be learning this year might be a really big year for you keeping on top of things in a kind of ritualistic fashion. It might be really that you're keeping on top of your health in a really diligent and consistent way with a practice. And that's helping you manage your money better. Because if we look after our health, we're able to work. If we're able to work, we're able to make money. It is a combination effort. It's you know, it's something that requires a lot of different things to be, you know, playing into each other. But basically, if we do the right things, results will follow. And that's what you might be finding now, Aquarius. If you put in the work, results will follow. If you do the diet, you know, the body feels good. And so this second house is all about not just you as an individual, but what you as an individual can profit from. Lucrative revenue streams could be illuminated now. Really thinking about how I'm compensated, how I'm rewarded, and, you know, what am I doing it for? Is there a sense of reward, even if it's not monetary? Do I feel good? Do I feel like I have integrity around the things that I do and the sacrifices that I make? Okay, and then Pisces rising, you are the final sign, but you are the sign in the spotlight, because this full moon is all about you, baby. And it's not just about today, Sunday, the 7th of September. It can also be the last 10 days, the last couple of weeks. What have you been celebrating about you? Is there a milestone that you've reached which your community have been cheering you on and acknowledging? I bet there has. I bet there is something that is allowing you to step into your full sense of self, your authenticity, your individuality. And conversely, there might be a sense that you can do things alone and that you're not necessarily having to rely on others because you are the responsible adult. You are the one who it all comes down to. Jupiter is in your house of happiness, love, sex, romance. So there could be this really strong feeling of love, of happiness, but also that you've got to be the one to do the work because Saturn in your sign is putting the weight of the world on your shoulders. He's making you feel like you're the adult in the room, let's say. So it's pretty heavy weather having Saturn in our sign. It's not like he's hiding away in your second house or working away in your 12th. Like those would be a lot easier to deal with. When he's right up slap bang in front of your face, that could be pretty tough to deal with and to manage. But nevertheless, and I kind of forgot to really go through the Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto significations, but I have actually written the horoscopes for Astrograph app this month, which is amazing. And you can head over to their website if you want the kind of slightly more in-depth version of what well, I mean, that was pretty descriptive. Just to look at the new moon moment, it was on March 10th of 2024. This may have been the moment that you were seeding your bright ideas that are now coming to fruition. And yeah, it was at 20 degrees there. So if you have planets around 15 degrees to 20 degrees of Pisces, they could definitely be getting slammed. Also the 29th degree, if you're Harvey Weinstein or someone with the, or, you know, Cynthia with her Mars at the end of Pisces. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that there. And I just want to, I guess, reiterate the fact that Saturn has just backtracked to that final 29 degrees. I'm not making light of it by saying about Harvey Weinstein or anyone else, but you know, as I just said, like having Saturn in our sign can be really heavy weather. And even if you're not a Pisces, you know, it's this, I mean, it really has been for me where I've kind of had to slow down and think to myself, gosh, that's a lot of extra work. It's not tiresome work that it's like landed on my desk like a huge pile of papers. It's more like digging deep into the psyche and the imagination of things. This is Pisces, so it's really using a light, lucid touch and thinking to ourselves, like, oh, I wasn't imagining that angle. It's like, you know, when you see rivers sparkling and you see things, you just tilt your head and you see things slightly differently through a slightly different lens. It's almost like we're getting an opportunity to wash things away. And, you know, it's only going to get more exciting as Neptune moves into the 29th degree of Pisces. We can have a very quick look at when the timing of that one is as well, just out of interest, just to just show how exciting it's coming up. You know, it's not just the isolated full moon moment, it's also the fact that if you just keep your eye on this Neptune Saturn right here, it's going to be this last chance, this last hurrah of Neptune popping into Pisces right here, October, end of October. We're going to have this lovely little nestling energy, and at the same time we're going to have Mars and Mercury in Scorpio. It'll be Scorpio season, so that's something to really look forward to just after that new moon in Scorpio, which of course I will be back to talk to you about again. You see that there, that 29, this is important stuff. 29 degrees of Pisces, Neptune slipping back there, and then he'll go all the way through till February. See, they turn direct for over Christmas, and then by February they're back in again, back into Aries permanently. We will never have Neptune and Saturn in Pisces ever again. So it's such a rare opportunity to celebrate, you know, what have you done over the past few years in terms of these areas that I've just described, be it Sagittarius and home, Libra and health, Virgo and relationships, Aries and recovery, Cancer and wisdom and growth and specialisms and expertise, Gemini, you've got your career, Aquarius, you've got your money and your spending. Capricorn, you've got your neighbors and your kindred spirits and your siblings. Virgo, I've already done relationships. You've got Taurus and your friendships, your community. Is it the wellness community? It might be. Could it be, you know, the wider networks that you rely on in a very charitable way? Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm going to wrap it up there. Otherwise, I'll just talk at you all night long. I know what I'm like. I'll keep going and going, and then I'll be off to go and look at the bloody full moon. So it's wishing you all the love on this lunar eclipse. I'm just so glad I came on here to do this little video. And yeah, with that, I will sign off. Big hugs.